Welcome back. As the country celebrates Freedom Day, many women still find themselves on the back foot. We chat to Professor Juliana Claassens, head of the Gender Unit in the Faculty of Theology at Stellenbosch University. Professor, thank you so much for your time this evening. So women have the same legal and constitutional rights as men. So in that sense, we've certainly made great strides. But in practical terms, do we have the same freedoms?
Yes, and today on this Freedom Day, I mean, until everyone is not free, we cannot say that we have achieved complete freedom. And I mean, the statistics regarding gender-based violence make a very strong case that women aren't free. South Africa has been called the rape capital of the world. Some estimates say that every 17 seconds a woman is raped. If you take the actual police statistics and multiply it by 20 to 30 because of severe underreporting. Yeah, so it is really a daunting task for those of us who are trying to, break the cycle of violence or engage in education, trying to change, sort of people's perceptions, also what it means sort of to be a woman and how women are to be treated.
So safety concerns are the one aspect where women don't enjoy the same kind of freedoms that men do. And we're going to get back to that gender-based violence issue in a moment. But just let's take a moment and look a little bit more broadly. Are there any other areas that you feel women are also having their freedoms restricted?
Yes, and I think, what people also say, gender-based violence is really the tip of the iceberg. And I mean, it goes to so many levels of our society. I mean, in homes, in the workplace, in places of worship, in schools, where women simply do not just have the same just measure of to be able to be and to do who they are and what they do. So it goes a lot about respect. It goes a lot about sort of the double standards that's often sort of the case in terms of women, how boys are treated, how girls are treated, how women are treated in the workplace. So it's really difficult. I had once Dean tell me when I was teaching still in the United States that, being white male privilege is like running with the wind blowing in your back and you do not even know the wind is blowing. So I think for many women, it is an uphill battle and you fight, on so many different levels just for the same rights to be and to speak. And so often, women are silenced or stay silent in order to avoid conflict. Yeah, so you see this so it's a much broader systemic problem. And of course, if you look at the intersectional understanding of gender in terms of race, class, sexual orientation, the problem becomes even more complex and even more daunting to address.
When we focus back on gender-based violence, there have been so many initiatives, NPOs, police campaigns, government drives to try and curb gender-based violence, but it doesn't seem that we're making any progress. Is that feeling of a lack of progress justified? And if so, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah, and I mean, I heard President Ramaphosa speaking about also, the sort of initiatives of also to strengthen the judiciary, to work with cooperation between police and community. And those are certainly important and worthy causes. But yeah, my sense is also that, again, that we must really approach this problem on a multi-pronged approach and at different levels. And I think we should start at our homes, we should start in our schools, and we should start really in terms of also teaching our boys what it means, also, to have empathy. Because I mean, a lot at the root of violence and gender-based violence is a lack of empathy, that you cannot see the other person as a person who can also suffer or hurt. And I think, what scholars also talk about, it's the triad of violence. That's also the link against with masculinity, and it's a violence against women and children, but also against other men, and then also violence against the self. And often violence comes out of a deep sense of sort of a lack of self-worth. Often men who have been bullied becomes bullies themselves. So I think, those of us in education are really trying hard also to address it at that level, that we sort of move beyond what's called a toxic masculinity, move towards redemptive masculinities. So also because, if men do not take responsibility also for this problem, a woman can't go about it alone.
Throughout history, people who've had their freedoms taken away or restricted have had to take it upon themselves to demand those freedoms. So we've seen that through political or social revolutions, through mass immigrations in some cases, through uprisings. Those options don't seem like the best options on the table for women in general. But we can't simply wait for those freedoms to be handed to us, the freedom of safety, of movement. How do we claim it for ourselves? Because it seems we're waiting for men to intervene. But I think many women in South Africa are growing impatient.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see this sort of on the sort of the protest movements in rape culture, Take Back the Night. So here at our Faculty of Theology, we have a Thursdays in Black, which is a World Council of Churches initiative. And we started this at the Gender Unit, and it's wonderful to see students, faculty, staff, all wear black on a Thursday. We have buttons, and there's a number of different places that are sort of really try to put the spotlight also on gender-based violence, and saying, it's just the clothes you wear on a Thursday is sort of a reminder that we need to act every day in a way that's because a reminder that, women are suffering. There's a fantastic a film on Showmax also called We Are Dying Here, which is Sipukazi Jonas, just give a shout out to her, sort of an initiative also with Rachel in Siya Kulisi, in terms of that also through art and drama, raising awareness also of gender-based violence. So I think there's a number of initiatives where we are doing exactly that and saying, no, it's not right. We do it in small and individual and personal levels, but we also do it as a communities to say no to ending gender-based violence.
Thank you so much for your contributions on this Freedom Day. That was Professor Juliana Claassens from Stellenbosch University.